At the moment, the Prime Minister has chosen to have a general election on her terms because she assumes an enormous majority. And around the country, there are very few people, I think, including myself, who expect anything other than Theresa May to be in 10 Downing Street on the 9th of June. And the question is, will she be properly opposed? It cannot be by Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party.
This, because you have said also that you wouldn't do a coalition deal either with Theresa May or with Jeremy Corbyn. Now, if you want to affect the way the government behaves after this election when it comes to Brexit, you want maximum leverage, and you seem to be saying, yeah, but I'm going to throw away any possible lever I might have, however well I do.
I think the most important thing for a leader is clarity. Clarity, yes. Number one, is to be honest with you and everybody else. We all know it's the truth, that the Prime Minister is heading for a colossal coronation on the 8th of June. Clarity point number two, so let's not pretend there's going to be any hung Parliament anyway.
A colossal coronation.
That's how it looks to me. And she expects the British people to turn up in their Sunday best and to wave the flag. That is not how a democracy works, and we're determined to turn the coronation she expects into a contest that Britain desperately needs. The second reason we've been very clear that we will not be having a coalition with Labour or the Tories is because I want people to look at the Liberal Democrats and realise when they vote for us, they're not voting for us as a proxy for anything else. They're voting for the Liberal Democrats' plan to invest in health and social care, to invest in education, and to make sure that Britain does not head off the cliff edge of a hard Brexit, that the British people have the final say, not the politicians.
You sound to me that at the beginning of this campaign you have, in effect, given up. It's all Theresa May's. We might as well walk away and
well, we're the only people not
afterwards.
Walking away. So Jeremy Corbyn appears to be fighting the next Labour leadership election. The Labour Party are fighting amongst themselves and have given up on the job of opposing the government. Britain desperately needs a strong, decent opposition for the sake of democracy. You don't need to agree with me on everything to agree with me that Britain needs a strong opposition, and the Liberal Democrats are determined to provide it.
Now, if you want to be leader of that opposition, then you need to go from 8 seats to, what, 130 seats, 100... I mean, it would be the biggest change in the Liberal Democrats' fortunes in living memory. Not living memory, in memory of any kind. Historians would be struggling to find any parallel. And a lot of people listening to what you say about the coronation and looking at the polls and say, this is a complete fantasy. Tim Farron might want to believe it briefly, as he's shaving first thing in the morning, but nobody else will.
Well, I mean, I think I'm probably one of those self-aware politicians. I'm aware of all the things that you say. I'm also aware that a week ago, the two main parties in France came third and fifth. These are times when politics in the Western Hemisphere, at least, has never been more unpredictable. This is also an election that Theresa May has chosen not to get a mandate. She doesn't need a mandate, and how can you have a mandate on something that's not been written yet anyway? Right. The deal, but it is an election nonetheless that could absolutely change the course of British political history. If you cannot be ambitious at this point to allow those millions of people who are appalled by the direction the Prime Minister is taking us in, not just out of Europe, but out of the single market, without the British people having the final say, if you want to prevent the calamity of that hard Brexit, you have one option. It is the Liberal Democrats, and you need to take it.
And to get to those seats, you need lots and lots of metropolitan and university towns, all those seats which voted Remain last time. But you also need to clean up a lot of seats in the south-west. But the south-west is exactly the part of the country that voted for Brexit. I can remember an old Liberal tradition when the old Liberals in the south-west were very Eurosceptic, they were right of centre, and that tradition has more or less died in your party.
Well, I don't want to go on a little bit of a rabbit hole here, but you will remember that I resigned from the Liberal Democrat front bench about 10 years ago because I am a bit of a Eurosceptic. I'm somebody who challenges people in power, the EU, in government, in councils, but I'm somebody who believes that Britain is better off in the European Union. And what the south-west is famous for is wanting to be able to be self-governing, to be independent, to be different from those in Westminster who tell them what to do. And the worst thing for the West Country is to be a blanket of blue where the Tories just take you for granted. And that's the thing. I think people around the country are beginning to realise that a Conservative majority is now not in question, but a Conservative landslide means they will take you for granted wherever you live.